There's a tool that's kind of the secret engine behind almost every piece of software you use. I'm talking about the apps on your phone, the biggest websites in the world. It's everywhere. But it's not just about code. It's a completely revolutionary way for people to work together. Today, we're going to break down Git. So, let me ask you something. Think about the last time you were on a group project. What was the most stressful, nail-biting part? Was it trying to figure out which file was the actual latest version? Or that heart-stopping moment when you realize someone accidentally deleted all of your work? Yeah, we've all been there. Okay, now take that feeling and multiply it by 1,000. Imagine hundreds of people all trying to edit the same document at the exact same time. It sounds like a recipe for total disaster, right? Absolute chaos. But what if there was a system designed to take that exact situation and turn it into perfect, trackable control? That chaos, that's the core problem we're going to unpack. Because before tools like Git came along, that project nightmare wasn't the exception. It was just how things got done. On the left, we've all lived that nightmare, right? The folder full of files named final_draft_v5_reallyfinal.doc. It's a system built on pure hope and fear. You hope you have the right version, and you're terrified someone is about to overwrite all your hard work. But now, look at the right. That's a different world. It's clarity. The question isn't, who deleted my paragraph anymore? Now it's, oh, let me just look at the history and see exactly who changed what and why they did it. So how do we get from the chaos on the left to that beautiful, organized dream on the right? Well, the solution, as you've probably figured out, is Git. At its heart, Git is what's called a version control system. Now, don't worry about the fancy term. Just think of it like a time machine and a superhero's safety net all rolled into one. It records every single change, it lets different people work on things at the same time, and it juggles all these different versions of a project without ever breaking a sweat. So what does that actually let you do? Well, for starters, it gives you a perfect, indestructible history. You can literally rewind your project to any point in its past and see exactly what it looked like. But the real superpower is how it lets people work in parallel. You can go off and experiment with some new wild idea in a totally separate, safe space without any risk to the main project. And then, when you've perfected it, you can merge it all back together seamlessly. That all sounds amazing, but how does it actually work? How does it pull all this off? Well, the entire system is built on just 3 simple core concepts that make all the magic happen. First up, you've got the repository, or what everyone just calls a repo. The easiest way to think about it is as the project's brain. It might look like a regular old folder on your computer, but inside, Git is keeping a meticulous record of every file, every change, and the project's entire history. It's all in there. Next, we have the commit. This is a total game changer. If you've ever played a video game, a commit is just like a save point. It's a snapshot of your project at one specific moment. You make some changes, get to a good stopping point, and then you commit them with a little note explaining what you did. This is how Git builds that perfect timeline we keep talking about. And right here, this is probably the most powerful idea in Git, the branch. A branch is basically a parallel universe for your project. It lets you create a complete, independent copy of your work, so you can go experiment on a new feature. If the idea is brilliant, awesome. If it's a total bust, no problem. You just delete the branch. Either way, the main, stable version of your project was never, ever at risk. So when you put it all together, these 3 things create this incredibly safe and powerful workflow. First, you branch off to create your own little sandbox to play in. As you work, you commit your changes, creating those save points along the way. And finally, when your new feature is perfect and ready for prime time, you merge it back into the main project. Branch, commit, merge. It's that simple, and it's incredibly robust. Okay, so we've got the concepts, we've got the workflow, which brings us to the really big question. Why did this specific tool completely take over the entire software world? Well, there are a few huge reasons. For one, it's super fast, and it's free. But the killer feature is that it's distributed. All that means is that every single person on the team has a full, complete copy of the entire project's history on their own machine. This makes it almost impossible to ever lose work. That level of power and safety is exactly why it's the engine running under the hood of massive platforms you've definitely heard of, like GitHub and GitLab. Now, hey, don't worry, this isn't a test. You do not need to memorize the slide. I just want you to see how those big ideas we talked about, commit,
branch, merge translate directly into these simple, plain English commands. The language of the tool itself reflects its most powerful ideas.
And that brings us to our final and honestly our most important point. If you take a step back and really look at it, you'll realize Git isn't just a tool for programmers. It's a model for collaboration itself. So here's the biggest takeaway I want you to leave with. Git isn't just about code. It's really a philosophy. It's a proven, battle-tested blueprint for how huge groups of people can work together on incredibly complex projects safely, creatively, and at a massive scale, all without stepping on each other's toes. And that really just leaves us with one final, powerful question to think about. This system was designed to build software, sure. But imagine if its principles were applied everywhere. What other massive, complicated problems could we solve if every team, from scientists and artists to city planners, could all collaborate this effectively?